it's so easy for us to have one foot in and one foot out the door. Like, oh yeah, God is saying something new is coming. So I'm curious to what God has called for me in my life, but part of me is still holding on to old beliefs and old cycles that I've been through, old friends, like friends that don't even like resonate to this current version of me anymore, conversations that don't even resonate with me anymore, certain foods, like it's all the old, like the things that have helped us cope with, survival and all these different things. But those are tools that helped us get to this current version of ourselves. But we have to ask ourselves, when do we allow those things to fall off? Hello and welcome, you guys. Welcome back to Rockin' with the Stars. If you're new here, my name is Petra. And like I said, welcome. We are the Star family, and we are so happy that you guys chose to join in and tune in on this conversation. Um, Today, first I want to say, like, I really miss you guys. It's been so long, and I did miss you guys, and I do miss you guys. It's one of those things where you know how you go through life and like you say, because one thing about me, I'm somebody, I talk and I share wisdom, but a lot of the times I'm receiving the things that I do say. So I would need time to like integrate the messages that flow through me from the divine, because I'm listening to it and I'm hearing it. And then I have to have time to like process it and integrate it into my life. And, that's just kind of like how I work. That's kind of what works for me. And it's just one of those things where it's like my authentic path. And when it comes to authenticity, it's one of those things where I can't just talk about the things that I'm talking about and then not live up to the things that I'm talking about. Like that will make me a fraud, like it'll make me very fraudulent. So the time that I have to like, come on here and talk to you guys, the time away, I'm actually taking my own advice and I'm living what I'm speaking. And I think a lot of people need to be doing that. I think we get caught up in like the consuming era and like consuming. But are you actually integrating the things that you are consuming? Are you actually integrating the information that you are consuming on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever the case may be? And I know I can get caught up in a loop too of like consuming. And then it's like, okay, like we have to remember that we need to be creating. What are you actually creating? Yes, you are creating your reality. But aside from creating your reality, like what are you actually doing that brings joy to the world? And I feel like we need to take a step back and like actually start creating, and less consuming, more creating. But this leads me to the topic that has been coming up for me. And it's one of those things where I know you guys have been feeling the shift lately. Like it has been a shift in a sense of letting go of the old, but walking into the new. And I'm talking about this now simply because I know the whole grieving process of grieving an old version of yourself. Like I've gone through so many seasons. When I tell you, like I've done like transformed to so many different identities, and like, I was this person in this season and then I'm another person in this season. I'm still authentically me at my core. It's just different seasons call for different Petras. And yeah, and so I know the whole process of like grieving a past version or old version of ourselves, and not knowing what the next version of us will like transform into. But the topic at hand right now has been, as we let go of an old version of ourselves or old beliefs or old tools that we use to transform into this current version, we need to let it go so that we can welcome in the new. And I know how hard it sounds to do that, because when we when sometimes when we let go of an old version of ourselves, it's kind of like we've attached so much to that version of ourselves, and we've identified to that version so much that it's hard for us to let go and welcome a new version of ourselves. And I'm talking to you guys like I'm talking to myself, because I'm like, I know it's so easy for us to have one foot in and one foot out the door. Like, oh yeah, God is saying something new is coming. So I'm curious to what God has called for me in my life, but part of me is still holding on to old beliefs and old cycles that I've been through, old friends, like friends that don't even like resonate to this current version of me anymore, conversations that don't even resonate with me anymore, certain foods, like it's all the old, like the things that have helped us cope with, survival and all these different things. But those are tools that helped us get to this current version of ourselves. But we have to ask ourselves, when do we allow those things to fall off? Because the whole topic of like the snake shedding its skin, and this is the year of the snake, and I know you guys have heard about that. Like the year 9 is the number 9 is of endings, closing out cycles. So it's death and rebirth. As things die, there's a season where it's going to be time for a rebirth. Right now we're in the spring season, so everything is blooming, right? You can go outside. I walked outside and I was like, oh my goodness, the allergies are coming out. Simply because the flowers, pollen, like everything is out. Like it's time for the bloom season. It's time for everything to be rebirthed. But in order for the things to be rebirthed, we have to let go of what is no longer serving us anymore, right? And it's pretty bittersweet, because especially if we've identified with those things for so long, it's hard for us to unlearn those behaviors and those habits and learn new habits so that we can walk into a better version of ourselves and what God is calling for us to. Like that version of ourselves that will elevate us and put us into rooms that God is calling us to go in, right? And that's why I have to make this video, because I'm like, I know just as hard it is for me to let go of old patterns, because I've coped with so much, like, especially when it comes to food. I'm like, one thing about it, when it came to like emotional, I'm an emotional eater. I'm like, girl, I'm a comfort eater. I love to comfort eat, right? So if I'm happy, I'm sad, girl, I'm gonna go eat something, right? Let me get myself together, And those habits have helped me, cope with different things and like the emotional turmoil and stuff like that. But I can't continue to do those things because it is unhealthy for my whole entire being, right? But not only that, it's like we can look at other things, right? We can look at other habits where it's, Miss Mary Jane, or, holistic, the holistic way that we utilize these tools. We can look at those things, like what are the habits that are hindering our growth, right? And not to say that those things are bad. They're not bad. They're just things, right? All of those things is you can just look at it. It's just energy. And energy is not good or bad, right? It's just how we utilize it, right? What is the intention behind it, right? Are we continuously utilizing these things and abusing it, right? Because it worked so far, it worked along our journey, but how are we utilizing these things? And we have to be honest with ourselves, right? Are we abusing it? Right? Because it's been a comforting thing for us. We've utilized it so much that now it's not even helping us anymore. We always get to a point where a tool can be working for us, and it's helped us along our journey. It helped us heal. It helped us look at our trauma. It helped us cope through so many different seasons of our life. But then we'll get to a point where stagnancy comes. It's just like, say for example, somebody is working out at in a gym. Even in a weight loss journey, there is a standstill in the journey, and then that is called like the plateau, right? There's a plateau where it's like all the tools that we've utilized so far along our journey, it no longer works anymore. So then that's when spirit is asking for us to utilize new tools, right? Because different tools help us in our season, in different seasons. Different tools help us in different seasons. So we have to ask ourselves, what tools are necessary for this season, for this version of us that God is calling us to, right? And so that's why I had to make this video, because I'm like, I know for a lot of people that when it comes to change, a lot of people don't like change, right? And I'm somebody, I've literally had to adapt so many times along my journey that like I'm like, change, okay, what's up? Let's see. Like, my journey has called me to change and shift and to so many different versions of myself, and it was all necessary. But it doesn't take away the fact that I still have to go through a grieving process of grieving the old version of myself. I still am like moving like a turtle when it calls for me to like let go of old identities and old beliefs and old things that are no longer helping me along my journey. And this can apply to anybody when it comes to like relationships, friendships, environments, habits, all of those things. If they're no longer helping us elevate along our journey, then it's time for us to say goodbye to those things. And yes, it's bittersweet. Yes, like we can fight and defend it and say like, no, it has helped us along our journey. Like, this has been a great teacher for me. We can say all of those things. And that doesn't negate the fact that it was a good teacher for us, right? But there comes a time where I love this quote so much when it says, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. But when the student is actually ready, the teacher will disappear. There's a point in our journey where what once worked no longer works anymore. The person that was once our teacher, whether it's an actual physical person, a physical being, or a thing, a person, place, or a thing, that person, place, or thing can help us along our journey to a certain point. And then when you become a master of whatever the thing taught you, whatever the person, place, or thing taught you, it's time for that person, place, or thing to take its leave, because somebody else needs that tool. Somebody else needs that person. Somebody else needs that thing, right? So it's like being honest with ourselves and saying, when it's time for us to let go of things that are no longer helping us along our journey, because we have to remember that God always removes things in our lives because there's something better. You can always look back in a moment in our time where we thought we lost a job opportunity, we thought we lost a friend, we thought we lost all of these things because it was removed from our lives. But God has always matched it with something greater. I could look at my journey and far along my journey where things were removed. And I'm saying like there was a tower moment and it was like dramatic. It was like a drastic change. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I took it so personally because everything happened so fast. And it's easy to blame God. It's easy to blame everything outside of us. But we have to take a different perspective and be like, oh, wait. God actually removed these people from my life because there's something greater. There's a greater calling on my life, right? These people had to leave. I had to be removed from this environment, because when God blesses me with the blessings that God has for me, these people cannot be around me. These person, places, or things can't be in my vicinity, because what will happen? Then they will utilize it. They will take it from me. They will manipulate me to over giving, They will put me in a position where I'll feel guilty for receiving the blessings that God has for me. So that's why when it comes to letting go of an old version of ourselves, letting go of our past in order to step into a better calling on our lives, yes, it's difficult, but always know that God has something better planned for us, and we have to just let go. It's like one of those things where even in tarot, when we talk about the fool, being a fool, like once you become the master of something, you always have to constantly grow and learn. When you know that you don't know everything, like the more that you learn so many different things, you will sit back and be like, I actually don't know anything. Like, I don't know anything at all. I'm still that. Like, as much as I've learned along my journey, I'm still like, girl, I don't know. I don't know nothing. Like, teach me something. I'm always that because I'm a student of life. So once I become a master of something and I'm like, oh, I know this and I know this really well. I know this to the point where I can teach somebody that all the things that I've learned. Then it's time for me to become a student again. It's time for me to become a fool again. And with the fool, even as depicted on the tarot card, the fool is about to jump off the cliff. He doesn't know what is in store for him. He doesn't know what is over on the other side of that cliff. He just knows this is what God is calling me to do. I just have to do it. I just got to jump off this cliff. I got to jump off this ledge. I don't know. Nobody told me anything. I don't know. I don't have all the details. I don't know what God is calling me to, but I just have to jump off this cliff. And if you're in this season where, I know a lot of us are in this season where we don't really know what God is calling us to. We don't know what's to come. Like, I know for me, I'm like, hey, I'm just going to continue showing up, and whatever inspiration that pops in my head, I know it can help me and I know it can help other people as well. But I'm just going to continue showing up. Like, I don't know where God is calling me to. I don't know what positions, what rooms he'll have me in. Like, I just don't know. But it's just a matter of, I choose to let go of the things that are hindering me and keeping me in a state of stagnancy, keeping me in an old life so that I can walk into the new, because I know there's something better. Right? God has something better for me, and it's up for me to trust that God has something better for me. So in this season, it's really about your faith. And I really urge people to like really take a step back and say, like, how much faith do you actually have? How much faith do you have in God, in the universe, in the creator, like source? It doesn't matter the name. How much faith do you have? And really ask yourself that, because a lot of times we'll say, oh yeah, I got faith. I have faith and it's rooted in me. It's unwavering. But then we start to think logically. Oh, I need a plan. I need spirit to tell me exactly step by step by step before I take that step. I need to know plan A, plan B, plan C before I take this step. And if you have to do that, you really have to question, how much faith do you have? Because if you had unwavering faith, then you'll know, you know what? Hey, let me just jump off this cliff. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't need to know all the details. Let me just jump. I know I'm going to be okay, because I have trust and faith that wherever I will be, God has led me there, and I'm wholeheartedly protected. I'm blessed and highly favored. I will be wherever I need to be, at the right place at the right time, in divine time. So when you have that unwavering faith in not only yourself, but also God, and you have those two together, that even if you find yourself in a situation that you feel you need to be out of, you can have trust and faith in yourself and God that you'll be able to get out of that situation. You'll be able to navigate that without anybody touching you. Okay? So when it comes to walking into the unknown and allowing God to just surprise us, we have to be ready to let go of the old. We cannot expect our manifestations to come in if we're still hanging on to the old manifestations, right? Like, you have to remember, this current version of you has manifested thus far, and you've received most, if not all, the manifestation thus far. But if you're trying to manifest new things to come into your life, you have to be willing to let go of the old. And I can be very vulnerable and say, like, many times along my journey, I would know when God is asking me to sacrifice something. Like, okay, I have to let go of something because I need to make room. I need to make space. Like the previous season, which it was last year, at the end of last year, And I didn't know where God was asking me to go to. I was like, I don't know. Like, I feel it's coming. It's kind of like it's here. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Like, I have no idea where God is calling me to. And I was in this same exact space. And then, like, at that point, I was like, I let go because I had to jump off the cliff. I had to quit my job because I had to make room for another teacher to step into my position. Even though I was holding on, I was like, hold on, hold on. Like, I need to make sure the kids have somebody that is reliable, that can show up for them, that actually cares for them. I was thinking logically. I was like, no, I can't just abandon these kids. I need to make sure somebody can take my position and they are really like for this position. That was me logically thinking like, no, when I was fighting it. But then God was like nudging me, and I was like, ugh. One thing about that nudge, it's like you have to ask yourself, what kind of nudge do you want? Do you want a little gentle push? You want a little gentle little push? You want to, ask yourself. And one thing about me, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Okay, I don't need to be yanked out of my seat, baby. I will gladly take my ish and leave real bad. So like I would get those nudges and I was like, dang, like even when I was trying to fight it, I was like, no, let me stay a little bit longer. I need to see who about to be the teacher for these kids. Cause I already see people who don't care. So, but as much as I fought it, I was like, damn, it's time for me to go. I was trying so hard too, but I was like, damn, it's time for me to go. So I had to jump off that ledge and I had to take the next step. And I had to just jump off, not knowing what all the details or anything like that. So that was the first little jump off and sacrifice that I had to make. And then not only that, the last sacrifice that I had to make was letting go of my old car. That was another one because that was my baby. Okay. Like that was the car that I literally learned how to drive in. I've had it for years. It was like 20 something years, or 18 years. I'm not sure. But I had it for a minute. And I would go to different people and it was just like, hey, you're just going to have to, there's nothing we can do about it. It'll cost more for you to fix it and refurbish it and do all these different things. And I was like, damn, I had to let go and that shit hurt. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's easy. But when I tell you, as soon as I made that sacrifice and I let go of that car, boom, next opportunity literally showed up. It was like the next day, I think. It was so insane. It was the next day. The next opportunity came in and it was another job opportunity. And I was like, okay, well, damn. Like that was literally me slaying a dragon. Like I had to take that final step because I was still holding on to different things. Nothing was done. Nothing could be done with that car. Like it was taking up space. I had to let it go. So that's why I'm saying, like, when it comes to wanting our manifestations to come in, we have to be willing to let go of our old manifestations. We have to be willing to detach from our old lives, right? Because we can't be in two places at one. We can't have one foot in and one foot out the door. Like it doesn't work. And I've tried that many times along my journey. I've tried that. But we have to go all in. If you really have trust and faith in God and a higher power and higher source and creator, the divine wants to see that you about it. Okay. You about the action. You about all of that. Like they want to see, the spirit wants to see how badly do you want this? How far would you actually go to receive your manifestations? And a lot of times, it's a lot of the things that we identified with and we've attached so much to it. And spirit is just like, this is not who you are anymore. You don't even resonate with this anymore. Like in our minds, it seems like really bad for us to let go of these things because we've had it for so much. But as much as we've had to learn how to attach to certain things, there's a lesson in learning how to detach. And that's also a teacher. Detachment, right? Learning how to detach. Because spirit is not saying that they want us to be living a minimalistic life. Like you got to throw everything away. You can never have possessions. No. Spirit wants us to have abundance. It wants us to have all of these beautiful things. But just as much as Spirit wants us to have all these beautiful things, Spirit also wants to teach us how to let go when things no longer serve us anymore. And we can look at this in a relationship and a friendship aspects too, because I can see a lot of people who are still stuck in cycles, especially pertaining to people when they know they no longer benefit their growth anymore. They're stuck in these loops. And a lot of those times, those loops are hindering them from moving on and ascending to better relationships, to better friendships. If it no longer resonates anymore, it's time for for you to let it go. And it's as simple as that. Like, if you're constantly stuck in a battle with, as soon as you ascend, then somebody, a person, place, or thing puts you in an environment where your energy is depleted. You start questioning your self-worth. You start forgetting who you are. You start being in a toxic, unhealthy cycle because the environment, the person, the thing, it no longer resonates anymore. Then that's how you know it's time for you to go. That's how you know it's time for you to let it go. And I've caught myself in that so many times. That's why, like, when I feel that within myself, and that's why I said it's teaching yourself how to do a check-in. How do I feel when I'm with this person? How does this person make me feel? How does this place make me feel? How does this environment feel? Like, how does my energy, like, do I feel depleted when I leave this place? Do I feel depleted when after talking to this person? Like, every single time I talk to this person, my energy just plummets. And yes, we'll have moments where we're not always at a high level. That's okay. You can give people grace. But if it's a consistent thing where every time you talk to somebody, it's always them negging, they're being negative, and like they're draining your energy, that you have none left, it's time for you to let it go. And it's not to say like, F you, I don't care, like F all the things that we've been through. No, it's not to say that. It's simply we're not in alignment anymore. And that's okay. If somebody else takes it personal, then that's them. That's for them to go ahead and figure out what's going on. You have to love yourself so much that you refuse to put yourself in situations and places that will constantly drain your energy. And that's why I'm talking so much about the feminine goddess and like knowing yourself and pouring into yourself and loving yourself. Because when you love yourself, you will refuse to tolerate the BS. You will refuse to tolerate things that are not up to your standards anymore. You refuse to tolerate all of those things. And so that's why I say, like, Spirit put this on my heart like really heavily, because I was like, okay, like I can tell it can be an addicting thing to like go back to the things that once brought us joy. The person, place, or thing. We can be ruminating. And I know even me, like I'm somebody, I always like to like look at my old albums and like see the different memories. I'm a memory, like I love memories, right? Especially memories that kept me, that was like fun and was happy. The different people that I was with at that time in that season that brought me so much joy. But then I stop myself when I catch myself trying to go like contact them again, or like trying to check in on them again, because it's like that version of me I'm no longer that version of me that I was in that season with those people. And yes, we can say like some of these people can grow with us, but a lot of times a lot of those people are stuck in their own cycle. And so when you decide to contact these people that are still stuck in their cycle, they're going to drag you into their reality of that cycle of them being stuck in a toxic cycle. And then you're taking all of that. And I know, like, with the people that I talk to, because I'm very highly sensitive, I'm talking to the highly sensitive people who are, who care so much, who are empaths, right? Who take on other people's trauma and like their energy and stuff like that. You have to learn how to protect your own energetic field. This is energetic boundaries. You have to be your own protector, because the people outside of you are not going to be like, oh, like, they're not going to stop you from wanting to merge into their own reality and help them. They're not going to stop you. You have to be the one to stop you. You have to set those boundaries, saying, that's not my reality. My reality is love, light. I'm enjoying myself. I'm content. I'm grateful. I'm not miserable. So the miserable people can stay away. No shade, but shade. They can stay where they at, because I'm enjoying my life. And how can I enjoy my life when there's somebody constantly projecting their own miserable life into mine? They're constantly projecting their own insecurities. They're constantly projecting their own traumas into my reality. I can't stand it. I can't have it. I have to put some distance. And this is not to say there's no love, but this is to say there's love from a distance, and that's okay. I have to love you from a distance for myself, right? And if you love yourself so much, you have to be okay with setting those boundaries. This is not to say I'm going to cut everybody off. No, this is simply to say I'm choosing people who aligned with me in this season, in this time. I'm choosing people who actually uplift me. I'm choosing places and environments that actually nurture my well-being, that actually brings me out and like brings my inner child out. Like there's joy here. I'm choosing those people, places, and things because this is about my journey. You have to be selfish with how you pour into yourself. You have to be selective with the people and places that you choose to be in, right? Because if you don't, then you're constantly going to be depleted and you're constantly going to be in environments that don't actually nurture your well-being. You're constantly going to be put in that situation. And you can't blame anybody outside of you because you're choosing those people, places, and things. So I had to make this, and I see 33 on the clock. So you guys might be seeing 333. That has been coming up a lot as well. But I just really had to talk to you guys because there is definitely a shift and there is definitely a choice for people to make. Where do you choose to be? Do you choose to be in the same cycle that you've been in this whole entire time that has never progressed? The same toxic cycle with this person, constantly degrading you, constantly projecting their insecurities on you, constantly holding you back from reaching your highest potential. Do you choose to be with that person or do you choose something better for yourself? Because we have to understand that we have not yet met all the people that will actually like pour into our whole our well-being, our whole being. We have not met all the people that are supposed to bless us. We have not met all the people that are supposed to inspire us to be more of ourselves. But if you're thinking that you're in lack and that you've met all the people that have already, have given you everything, and that's when you keep yourself stagnant and you keep yourself stuck with these people that choose not to grow. My channel is for people who choose to grow. We choose to ascend. We choose to, flourish. We choose to be ourselves unapologetically, unabashedly. We choose to be our entire selves with no shame. And you can't choose that life if you're stuck with people who don't even know themselves. You're stuck with people who choose to stay where they're at. And this is no judgment on those people, but this is just to know, what do I want? Asking yourself, what exactly do I want? Do I align with these people? What are the conversations like? Are the conversations constantly about other people? Like, are the conversations always about drama and mess and what other people are doing with their lives? When I can be focused on my life and how to, quantum leap into the reality that I want for myself? We have to ask ourselves these questions. But I really hope that after watching this video, you choose a reality that best fits your life, that best fits your soul. Because right now, the soul is in the driver's seat of my life. And I'm like, soul, lead me to where I know I will be fulfilled. Lead me to the people, places, and things where I know my soul will be fulfilled. And I don't care who it upsets. I don't care who takes it personal. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, my soul will be fulfilled. And it's for my highest good. Everything that is coming for me is for my highest good. So that's why I choose to let go of things that no longer serve me anymore. But this is all I have to say for you guys. I really hope this message is received with love. Because one thing about me, I speak love and truth. And sometimes the truth is hard to hear, but I know it's something that your soul needed to hear at this time. But thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to stay flowing, glowing, and growing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share to anybody you feel may need to hear this message at this time. It's been a blessing. I send love to you guys. And yeah, I'm here with you guys. Definitely drop into the comments so I can send love your way if you might be going through a hard time at this time. And this is just to say that everything is temporary. Like what God has for us, it will blow us away. Like don't ever think that you're stuck where you're at, because there's always something better. Peace and love. See y'all next time.